The 7 most powerful gods of ancient Egypt. Imagine a world where the gods walked alongside the pharaohs, led wars, resurrected the dead, and decided the fate of humanity. This is not fiction, this is ancient Egypt. In this video, we will lift the curtain on the 7 most powerful gods of this civilization, beings who still inspire admiration and fear. Which of them possessed the secret of life after death? Who commanded the sun and the elements? And who was considered so dangerous that even other gods feared him? These gods are not just figures on the walls of temples. They are symbols of cosmic power, unlimited power, and the eternal struggle between light and chaos. I promise, you will be amazed not only by their abilities but also by the stories they hide. Watch this video to the end, and you will find out which god of Egypt was the true ruler of the heavens and which of them may still be watching over this world. Click subscribe to not miss new videos about ancient civilizations, legends, and magic. There are even more mysteries ahead which we will solve together. The first god, Amon. Among the entire Egyptian pantheon, it is Amon who is considered the god who achieved absolute power not only in the eyes of the pharaohs, but also in the hearts of the people. His name translates as hidden or invisible, and this is not just an epithet. It is the essence of his nature. Amon never had a clear form. He could be the wind, universal energy, spiritual essence, or even cosmic silence. He was not the god of lightning or war. Amon was the god of everything that remained beyond human understanding. His cult arose in Thebes, and from a small local deity, he turned into an all-god, the ruler of the gods, identified with Ra, the sun god. As a result of the synthesis, a new image appeared. Amon-Ra, an invincible god, ruling both in heaven and on earth. It was in this status that he was revered during the New Kingdom, when Thebes became the capital, and the priests of Amun were the richest and most influential people in the empire. Mythology and influence. Amun is not just a symbol of power, he is its source. Some myths say that it was he who created the world, giving birth to himself from the primordial chaos. He breathed into the darkness and gave birth to all that exists. He did not need a cult, but it was the cult of Amun that became the center of the religious life of Egypt. A grandiose temple complex was built in Karnak, which was considered the sacred heart of the earth. It was there, as the Egyptians believed, that Amun heard prayers, accepted sacrifices, and endowed kings with power. Amon and the pharaohs. Pember. Every pharaoh who wanted to legitimize his power had to be a favorite of Amon. In art, Amon was often depicted with a ram's head or with 2 feathers on his headdress, but his true face was the face of the whole world. In the pyramid texts and later religious hymns, his greatness is celebrated as infinite, mysterious, and indefinable. Pharaoh Tutankhamun, whose name means living image of Amun, symbolized the god's revival after Akhenaten's attempts to destroy his cult. In a political sense, the cult of Amun controlled no less than the royal throne. Its priests owned gold mines, vast estates, and slave armies. It was a powerful religious political empire within an empire. Interesting to know. During the processions in Karnak, the statue of Amun was carried on a golden boat, symbolizing the sun's journey across the sky. Amun himself, in conjunction with Ra, became not only a deity but a cosmic mechanism. During the period of Egypt's decline, even when Rome had already conquered the Nile, the cult of Amun continued to live in Libya, Sudan, and Nubia, where he was known as Jam Amani and was revered as the supreme sun. Amun is not just a god. He is the energy behind creation, preservation, and destruction. He is the voice in the silence, the power in the air, and the spirit at the heart of every prayer that ascended to heaven. His name is the whisper of the wind in the desert, the shadow on the obelisk, the breath above the pyramids, and it is with him that our list of the most powerful gods of Egypt begins. The second on our list is Thoth, a mysterious and profound god whose image permeates the entire spiritual essence of ancient Egyptian civilization. He did not throw lightning or lead armies, but his word was stronger than the sword, and his knowledge was more boundless than the starry sky. In the Egyptian pantheon, Thoth is not just a god of knowledge, he is the embodiment of divine reason, the keeper of magical texts, the patron of science, astronomy, medicine, and justice. He created not with weapons, but with thought. His face is the face of an ibis or a baboon, animals symbolizing insight, intelligence, and mystery. According to legend, it was Thoth who created hieroglyphs, a sacred writing with the help of which the gods conveyed truths to people. His pen recorded the fate of souls in the afterlife, when the heart of the deceased was weighed on the scales of Mot. Without Thoth, there could be no justice, for he was the one who recorded the truth without passions and embellishments. But his role was not limited to the afterlife. According to legend, he helped the goddess Isis collect and revive the body of her husband Osiris, thereby initiating the first rite of resurrection. It was Thoth who taught her magical formulas and rituals, giving people knowledge of resurrection, the soul, and eternity. Many believed that it was Thoth who gave humanity the Book of Secrets, a mystical text that contained the formulas for life, death, immortality, and victory over time. According to legend, whoever reads this book to the end will gain power over the gods and even over fate itself. But it was believed that it could only be read when the soul was completely purified and freed from fear. In the temple of Thoth in Hermopolis, the priests kept the most secret texts. They called him the Heart of Ra because it was Thoth who translated the will of the sun god into the understandable language of wisdom. In this sense, he was the voice of heaven that could be heard on earth. The Egyptians believed that the night sky, the stars, the movement of the moon were all the result of Thoth's calculations, and his wisdom permeated every shadow, every ritual, and every word of the sacred texts. Even after the decline of ancient Egypt, the image of Thoth did not disappear. In Greek culture, he was identified with Hermes Trismegistus, a sage who combined magic, philosophy, and astrology. It was Thoth who became the source of the Hermetic tradition that influenced alchemy, Kabbalah, and Western esotericism. Thoth is not just a god, it is the idea that words have the power to create reality. His name is a whisper in the depths of temples, a formula on the walls of tombs, a breath in every magical spell. He is the memory of the world, crystallized in signs that only the seeker of truth understands. And he is the one who preserves the knowledge of the beginning and end of all things. The third god, Set. Set is a god who was feared, misunderstood, cursed, but at the same time revered. His name was whispered in the sands, in storms, in flashes of the unknown. He is the embodiment of uncontrolled power, fire, destruction, but at the same time the defender of Ra in the battle with darkness. Set is not evil, but a force that cannot be contained within any framework. He was the god of the desert, storms, thunder, but also the victor over the serpent Apep, the main enemy of the sun. It is this contradiction that makes Set one of the most mysterious gods of ancient Egypt. Set was usually depicted with the body of a man and the head of a fantastic creature, a Set animalia which no one can still identify. His snout has mixed features of a jackal, donkey, pangolin, and still unknown animals. This is no coincidence. This is a symbol of his nature, elusive, dangerous, opposite to everything familiar. He was not light, and he was not complete darkness. He was a shift in balance, which is sometimes necessary for rebirth. According to the myth, Set killed his brother Osiris, the king of order and harmony, tore his body and scattered it throughout Egypt. This murder became one of the central stories of Egyptian mythology. But not everything is so clear. Some traditions believe that Set did not just destroy, he purified. Through the death of Osiris, a new form of life appeared, resurrection, initiation. Through pain and loss, Isis, Horus appeared, and with them, a new balance. However, Set did not disappear into the darkness. He was an indispensable ally of Ra. Every night, when the sun god descended into the Duat, the underworld, it was Set who fought Apophis, the serpent of chaos, who wanted to devour the sun. No other god had the power to stop Apophis. Only Set, a god of boundless power, unafraid of darkness, could look true evil in the eye and defeat it time and time again. In royal ideology, Set was also the patron saint of the pharaohs in their military might. He was the god of victories, strategies, tough but necessary decisions. In some regions, he was even revered on a par with Horus, his enemy in another version of the myth. This dual perception speaks of the depth of Set's symbolism. He is a shadow without which there is no light. Later, when the cult of Osiris and Isis gained popularity, the image of Set began to be demonized. He was made the culprit of all disasters, chaos, and diseases. But deep in the temples, the priests knew the truth. Set is not an enemy. He is a test. He is a God who reveals the truth about man through suffering, struggle, and loss. That is why his power is so great. Seth is the archetype of the force that breaks the old to make way for the new. He is the desert that cleanses the earth. He is the thunder that burns the dead. He is the defeat that prepares for triumph. And that is why he was feared and respected. His energy is not for everyone, but without it there cannot be a full cycle of creation. The fourth god, Horus. Horus is not just a god. He is a symbol of hope, victory over evil, and the restoration of justice. His name means high, towering, and not in vain. Horus was a celestial falcon soaring over all of Egypt, watching over the truth, maintaining order, and punishing violators. His eyes are the sun and the moon themselves. His cry is the thunder of justice, resounding through the centuries. In him is the spirit of a warrior, heir and avenger, reviving harmony after tragedy. The son of Osiris and Isis, Horus was born in secret in the swamps of the Delta, where Isis was hiding from Set, the murderer of her husband. And it was this story that became the archetype of the struggle of good against evil. Horus grew up in the shadow of betrayal, loss, and chaos. But he did not break. He was raised by spirits, gods, and magic itself, so that one day he would regain what was stolen, the throne of Egypt. The main legend about Horus is his epic struggle with Set. It lasted for decades. It was not a simple battle. It was a war of worldviews, principles, and laws. Horus was the personification of Maat, truth and justice. Seth, a manifestation of Isfet, chaos and power. In one of the myths, Horus loses an eye in battle, but Thoth, the god of wisdom, heals it. This is how the Eye of Horus appears, the most powerful Egyptian amulet, a symbol of healing, protection, and restoration. But the greatest thing about Horus is not muscle strength, but strength of spirit. In myths, he does not just take revenge, he judges. Yes, in the ancient text, all the gods gathered to decide who owns the throne. Horus proves his right not with anger, but with honesty. And although Set tries to manipulate the court, even wins some fights, in the end the truth prevails. Horus gets the throne, becomes king, restores balance, and Set is given another place, to guard the sun. The pharaohs saw Horus not just as a deity, but as their own incarnation. Each ruler considered himself a living Horus on earth, and after death, he became Osiris. Such a close connection with Horus made him not only a heavenly protector, but also a guarantor of legitimate power. His image combined a warrior, a judge, a son, and a king. He is a model of an ideal heir. Horus was depicted as a man with the head of a falcon, crowned with a double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, a symbol of the unity of the country. His temples were built with an orientation towards the sun, and the cult of Horus became the basis for the unification of the Egyptian pantheon. Horus combines everything: loss and restoration, anger and wisdom, battle and law. He is a god who does not just fight, he wins because he does not give up on justice. In his every flight is a call to honesty. In every symbol is a reminder, even in the darkest times, Horus will appear, rising above chaos and restoring harmony. The fifth goddess is Isis. Isis is not just a goddess, she is the embodiment of the very essence of feminine power, wisdom, and boundless devotion. There is no figure in Egyptian mythology who would cover so many spheres. Isis is a mother, wife, healer, mistress of magic, protector of nature, guardian of the throne, and one who mourns and revives. Her name has become synonymous with healing and mystery, and her cult has not faded even thousands of years after the fall of the pharaohs. Isis was the sister and wife of Osiris, with whom she ruled in perfect harmony. But her main story is not in the throne, but in tragedy. When Osiris was treacherously killed and torn to pieces by his brother Set, Isis did not despair. She set off on a journey, collected every part of her husband's body, resurrected him with the power of her spells, and conceived a son from him, Horus. Thus, Isis became not just a goddess, but a hope for the restoration of justice, for the victory of life over death, love over destruction. Her magic was so powerful that even Ra, the god of the sun, could not resist her. In one myth, she cunningly learns his secret name, the source of his power, and gains power equal to his. No other god had such control over magical powers as Isis. She created spells, changed fate, healed even the mortally wounded. But most importantly, she always acted out of love. Her magic is not destructive but healing. She taught humanity medicine, suggestion, prayers, spells. She is the mother not only of Horus, but of all humanity. That is why Isis was the goddess to whom people turned in the most difficult moments of life. During childbirth, illness, death, betrayal. She was depicted as a woman with a throne on her head or with wings enveloping the world. She could be a warrior, a mourner, and a queen. Her cult spread far beyond Egypt. She was honored in Greece, Rome, and Mesopotamia. Even the image of the Virgin Mary in Christianity has deep parallels with Isis, a mother holding a child who is to save the world. Isis is a symbol of transformation. She does not stop before death, she embraces it to give new life. Her presence is an eternal reminder that even in a destroyed world, there is a place for love, loyalty, and strength that comes from the heart. When the light goes out, when it seems that evil has won, Isis appears from the shadows, not with a sword but with wisdom, and reminds us, true power lies in the one who creates, protects, and heals. She is the secret pillar of the universe, a goddess who is feared and adored. And in every woman who fights for the truth and protects her own, a piece of Isis lives. The sixth god, Osiris. Osiris is one of the oldest and greatest figures in the pantheon of ancient Egyptian gods. His name is shrouded in mysticism because he was the first to die and be reborn, revealing the secret of the afterlife. His story is not just the tragedy of a betrayed ruler, but a sacred scenario of the rebirth of the soul, which underlies the entire Egyptian religious worldview. According to myths, Osiris was a wise and just pharaoh who taught humanity agriculture, fair laws, and spirituality. Under his rule, harmony and order reigned in the world. But his brother, Set, the personification of chaos and darkness, could not stand the brilliance of Osiris's glory. He tricked Osiris into attending a feast, locked him in a decorated chest, and threw him into the Nile, condemning him to death. However, Osiris's death was not the end. His faithful wife, the goddess Isis, gathered the dismembered body of Osiris, resurrected him with her powerful magic, and conceived a son from him, Horus, the future avenger. The resurrected Osiris did not return to the world of the living, but became the ruler of the Duat, the kingdom of the dead. He became the judge of souls, deciding the fate of each deceased on the scales of truth, weighing the human heart against the feather of Ma'at, a symbol of justice. Osiris was depicted as a mummified man with green skin, the color of fertility and resurrection. In his hands were a scepter and a whip, symbols of power over the earth and the afterlife. His green skin signified not only a connection with nature, but also the cyclical nature of life. Death was not the end, but only a stage before a new beginning. Osiris became not only the deity of the dead, but also a symbol of hope. His revival gave the Egyptians faith in the immortality of the soul. It is with him that the rite of mummification is associated, a ritual that was supposed to ensure the transition to eternity. All pharaohs after death became the embodiment of Osiris, and every soul that went to the Duat had to appear before him for judgment. His cult was one of the most massive in Egypt. Holidays in his honor lasted for many days, accompanied by ritual mysteries that recreated his death and resurrection. In the depths of this rite is coded knowledge. Life always returns, and light always breaks through the darkness. Osiris is not just a god, but the very idea of the endless circle of existence. His story reminds us, even when you have been betrayed, even when you have been torn apart, you can be resurrected, turning into an eternal force. The essence of all religions lives in him, faith in life after death, in the victory of good over evil, in the truth that always rises from its knees. And as long as there is at least one soul seeking truth after death, Osiris will remain its first and most just judge. The seventh god, Ra. Ra is one of the oldest and greatest deities of Egypt, the supreme god of the sun, the creator from whom the entire universe originated. His name was pronounced with trepidation, because Ra was not just a celestial body. He was the personification of life itself, order and cosmic harmony. He combined creative energy, the power of fire, and an indomitable will to eternal movement. According to myths, Ra emerged from the primordial ocean of chaos, Nuna. He created himself by uttering the first magic word, and from that moment, the creation of the world began. From his tears and sweat, he gave birth to the first gods, Shu air and Tefnut, moisture, who gave rise to all that exists. It was Ra who gave rise to the course of time, divided heaven and earth, lit the sun in the sky, and began his eternal journey across the firmament. Every day, Ra in his celestial boat, Manjat, sailed across the sky from east to west, illuminating the world. And at night, his boat became the night bark, and he traveled through the otherworldly realm of Duat. There, Ra entered into a daily battle with Apophis, a giant serpent of chaos, who sought to absorb sunlight and return the world to darkness. Thanks to his universal fire, Ra always won, and rose again at dawn, giving people life. He was depicted as a man with the head of a falcon and a solar disk above it. This disk was sometimes surrounded by a snake, a symbol of infinity or protection. Sometimes Ra merged with other gods. He became Ra Adam, the embodiment of the sunset, or Ra Hurakti, the god of the height of the day, or even Ra Amun, a combination of the invisible and visible divine principle. Each pharaoh was considered a son of Ra, not only symbolically, but also literally. Ra endowed the rulers with divine power, gave them strength and legitimacy. It was Ra who governed Ma'at, the cosmic order that had to be maintained in everything, from rituals to the laws of the state. But over time, the god got tired. Egyptian myths tell that Ra, having become old, decided to ascend to heaven, leaving the management of the world to other gods. But before that, he hid all the magic in his gaze, the eye of Ra. This eye became a separate force that took revenge for contempt for the divine. His eye is a formidable weapon, full of thirst for order and retribution. Ra is a source of energy, endless movement, and a daily reminder of the struggle between light and darkness. Without him, there would be no sunrise, there would be no life, there would be no rhythm, according to which not only the Egyptians but also the entire universe lived. Ra is the very idea of a force that does not die, but every night proves its right to exist, to illuminate the world again and show the way. He is the first ray and the last word in the cosmic order. He is the sun, God, fire, and life. And so we have traveled through the millennia, lifting the veil over the 7 most powerful gods of ancient Egypt. Each of them is not just an image in stone or a legend on papyrus. They are the personification of the elements, light and darkness, wisdom and war, life and death. They lived in the imagination of an entire people, ruled the rivers, stars, and hearts. They were feared, revered, and turned to in the hope of protection and strength. And now, a question for you. Which of these gods impressed you the most? Do you believe that the ancient knowledge of these deities could have been preserved to this day? Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, do not forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so as not to miss even more myths, mysteries, and amazing stories from the depths of time. See you in the next video. The world of antiquity hides many more secrets that we will reveal together.